Vale, Paquito, nos vemos en la casita. Déjame llaves. Déjame llaves. I will share now my screen. Okay, so I'm sharing again my screen, guys. Hello, Sammy. Hello, AJ.
Hey.
Hey. I hope that you're doing good. So I'm already sharing again my screen. So let's start now. And let's do it. So, in this small space, we're going to talk a little about what is the Board of Presidents and what are the responsibilities of and behaviors of the Board of Presidents here or in any other organization, here or in any other ISEC in the world. So the three objectives that we have for this specific session, the first one is to understand what is the role of the BoP. The second one is to understand what is going to be your contribution as member of the BoP. And the third one is to understand how is the communication flow between the BoP and the LCs. So how we are going to actually communicate as LCPs, the things that are happening and being decided in the BoP to our LCs. So let's start with this. The first thing is that being a BoP member is an integral part of your role as LCPs. So for me, there is different definitions of what are the roles of the LCP, but for me, the LCP have four main roles or four main responsibilities. That is the things that the LCP should do. If an LCP is doing something else that is not one of these four things, then you are not being an LCP. So the first one is to be team leader of your EB. Therefore, it's really basic, is to deliver team standards and to guide the strategic frame of your EB. The second one is to be the operations responsible of the LC. Why? Because at the end, you are the person that is kept accountable for the operations of your LC. The next one is external relations and PR. Being the LCP, you are also the external face of the organization. Therefore, you should be the person partners. Like if he's not a partner of like for exchanges, it should be managed by you or your university or any other kind of partner, your alumni board or whatever. And the last one is to be part of the BoP, the Board of Presidents of ISEC in France. So, what is the BoP? Just to put it in a really concrete way, the first one is that is the most important decision-making body of the federation. Literally, in this body, the people take the most important decisions for the federation. So we will talk a little more about that later, but literally you can decide whatever you want with the federation. Whatever you want to do, you can propose it and you can pass it, you can choose to do it and you can do it. The second one is that is the representation of all the members of ISEC in France. When you are an LCP, you are representing your LC in front of the BoP. And the third one is that it's a support group of people that are sharing an experience. So like the BoP, all of you are people that are sharing the same kind of experience. All of you are going to have forming, all of you are going to have storming with your EVs. So you are a support group that is going to give you advices, that is going to be with you in the moments that you feel like tired or that you want an answer. So in terms of decision making, the first one in terms of decision making is the General Assembly, the first step. General Assembly will be explained in another session. I think that is Saturday, and you will also be with me. So I will explain you how a General Assembly works. But basically, in the General Assembly is the space where you can literally change the compendium of ISEC in France or put mandates to any body of the national entity, meaning LCs or MC or special boards or whatever, in order to move forward the strategic and long-term plan of the organization. The second step of decision making is consultancy spaces and fast decision making with the MC. So for example, if the MC have any doubt and we release a survey, we expect you to answer the survey, actually to give us inputs and to help us to make the best decision for the entity. And the last one is to do prioritization, follow-up, and execution of ISEC in France's strategic plan. For example, the MC is sending financial reports to the LCPs for them to check on the execution of our budget and to help us prioritize what is the things that we should spend our money or that we should save or that we should take in consideration. So in terms of decision making, the board of presidents is nothing more than the most important part of the organization and is the body that actually take the biggest and most important decisions for ISEC in France. In terms of representation, each LCP represents its own LC. So you are the representation of all the people that you work with. You are the representation of your EV. You are the representation of your university or your school. You are the representation of your EPs. You are the representation of your members. Each LCP is responsible of giving to its LC the information regarding the decisions taken by the BoP. This is part of representation. You need to tell to your LC what is happening in the BoP because this can affect their operations or the daily life in terms of ISEC. And the next one is that the LCP represents the interest of their LC. That is super important. You are always representing your LC, but you should take decisions aiming for the welfare of the entire federation. Why? Because if there is no ISEC in France, there is no LC. Simple. So when you are taking decisions or when you are representing your LC, you need to have this in mind, and is that you need to take the decision that is best for your LC, but also the decision that is best for the federation. And in terms of support group, the first one is GCP and BCP sharing. So you share good case practice and bad case practice. So you share inside the group and the different channels that you are going to have as LCPs. You can share, hey, this is happening with me. Hey, I did this strategy and it went really, really well. So you can share this kind of information. The second one is discussions in terms of the Togman model. So all of you with your EVs, you are going to go through 4 different phases. So forming, storming, sorry for the mistake there, storming, performing, and adjourning. And all of you are going to have this. Any team in the world or any kind of team in everything have these 4 phases of Togman model. So you can share how to accelerate the process or how can do things properly for each one of the stages. And the last one is discussions regarding strategic decisions for improvements in the performance of the LC. So for example, if any of the LCPs have information regarding how to open a new market, you can ask in the group and look for this kind of information. Now, in terms of the contributions of the BoP, or your contribution to the BoP, so it's divided in 3. The first one is presence and discussion. The second one is the subcommittee's participation. That is an initiative that we tried to do this year, but it didn't work out that much. But Francisco have it really clear. He already have everything defined. So I'm sure that you guys are going to have this strategy on your daily life. And the last one is representation in international conferences. That is one of the most exciting parts of being LCP, and is that you have the opportunity of going to the best conferences that ISEC offers. So in terms of presence and discussion, this is a little more of advices. So the first one is to share, guys. The people that is on the BoP is going to deal with the same challenges that you are having. So just go there, share your challenges, your problems, and I'm sure that sometimes you are going to have a better answer from the BoP than even the MC or than even ISEC International, because you are living the same experience, so you can share the solutions, but always focusing on the solutions. Second one is to participate in the discussions. That is my second advice. If there is some discussion happening in the group, make sure that you participate and that the voice of your LC is being heard. And the third one is to support the other LCPs. There is some of you that have experience in operations. There is some of you that have experience in back office. So make sure that you are supporting and giving your best to support the other LCPs, because at the end of the day, the success for each LC is the final goal of ISEC in France. So if the LCs are not performing, basically ISEC in France is not performing. In terms of subcommissions, I'm going to explain a little the concept of subcommissions. So it's a division of work between the LCPs to take the most the biggest improvements for ISEC in France. So there is going to be four subcommittees for next year. The first one is about marketing. Second one is about finance. The third one is about membership, and the last one is the steering team. So these are groups of LCPs that are contributing a little more to the organization, taking strategic decisions, and helping the MC to be aligned with the expectations and with the work that is expected from the LCs. So in terms of marketing, is helping all the part of alignment of the brand, blue book, and other things. In finance, you guys are going to check the execution of the budget of the MC and these kind of things, and how we are investing the money. In membership criteria, you are making sure that the LCs have all the information and that they are striving to actually be full members of the federation. And the steering team is an strategic team in terms of long-term planning of the federation. Why is important to have subcommissions? First one, in terms of transparency, the most participative the LCPs are, the most transparent is the organization. Second, to contribute to a strategic perspective of the organization. And the last one, and this is the most important one, if you really want to change something in ISEC in France, this is the best way to do it because you are allowed to take decisions and propose concrete plans for the federation. In international conference, you can represent your LC. That is super important. You can, the fact that an LC is being heard or that is being showcased on international conferences is going to boost your everything inside your LC, is going to boost your motivation, the motivation of your EV, the motivation of your members, and everything else. Second, to develop yourself at the maximum capacity. When you go to an international conference, you are going to receive content that you are not going to find here, and you are going to find externals and partners that you are not going to be able to meet inside the conference of ISEC in France. So take advantage of it. We are going to learn on what is happening with ISEC Global and what is the direction that ISEC International and the regional boards are giving to the organization. Next one, you also represent the federation when you are going. And the last one is international conferences is, if not the most important, the second most important tool to do IR. For me, it's the most important. If you go to international conferences, you meet some people and you create some relations, you are ensuring IR for your LC, exclusive IR and good IR. Now, in terms of communication of the BoP, I'm just going to talk a little about the how you should communicate between the BoP to the MC, and BoP to your LCs. So, between the BoP, something super important, think about the channel that you want to use for the messages. Something that was happening a lot of times this year is that a group of 2 or 3 LCPs were writing during a night 200 messages of things that were not directed or not important for all the LCPs. So that is not the best way, because the idea of this group is that you share with things that are useful for everyone or that everyone can take advantage of, not like personal discussions on that. For that, you can create other groups. The second one is be transparent and be sure that the LCPs will have your back and also provide advices. And the last one is also try to relate with people that have similar challenges. So for example, if one of the LCs is in debt and you want to know how to get out of the debt, talk with the LCs that had debt 2 months ago or 3 months ago. They're going to help you to give this a strategic direction to your LC. To the BoP to the MC, the first one, super important, super simple, fill the sauna. The sauna, of course, there is always a space for improvement, but the sauna is the best way of communicating things to the MC. Why? Because it gives a concrete overview of what is the current state of your LC, and the numbers talk by themselves. It's also a way of tracking yourself and making sure that you are being accountable to your results and to your PPs. So it's super useful. Second one, keep the communication respectful and professional with the MC. We are here to help for sure, but of course, to be respectful and to be professional is something that is not just good for the organization, it's also good for the relation with the MC. Why? Because if you communicate to the MC, guys, I'm absolutely sure, because that's what happened this year, the MC will do everything on our hands to help you, everything that we can. And the last one is be constant with your coach and Why? Because being accountable to someone else is essential to have a good LCP term. I think that that's one of the secrets to have a good LCP term, and is to be accountable to someone else. Something really important in terms of communication BOP to MC is, guys, I know that maybe you are going to have a LCP group without the MCP or without the MC. That is perfectly okay. That is perfectly fine. Just keep the thing transparent and professional, and avoid the chit chatting or the gossip without confronting or telling to the MC the things that are related to them. It's better if you say the things in the face and you solve the problem right away, than if you just make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So, like, of course, these groups are super good to share DCPs and to discuss decisions and to challenge the ideas of the MC, but make sure that it's done in a transparent, in a really respectful way. And BOP to the LC. Now, for the BOP to the LC, my recommendation is use the LCMs to downscale the messages that are decided on the BOP. The next one is super important. You should report at least once every 3 months over the performance of your EV and your LC to your members. In the same way that the MC do it, you need to also report to your LCs. What is the current state of the EB? What is the goals? How far we are? What is the budget execution? Because the members of ISAC in France are the LCs, but the members of the LCs are the members themselves. So you need to be accountable to them. And my suggestion is to define since the beginning with the EB, how would you communicate with the LC? What kind of things should and should not be communicated. This is super important because it will keep things transparent and it will keep the things current between your EB and the LC. And with that, guys, that was the entire webinar. As you can see, it was a really short webinar, but I hope that it was useful. Now we'll just open to question to see if you have any doubt, and after that, we will close the space.
It's not about doubt, but I was wondering when is the international conference for our just if there is already some date, something like this.
Yes, sir. So international conference of this term is going to happen in the first week of July. It's going to be in Sri Lanka. Yeah, that's something interesting. Like so far, I don't have any information regarding what is happening with the decision of IC Sri Lanka. As soon as I have it, I will send it to the LCPs, and I will make sure that you also receive it at LCP Elect. But so far, the official information is that IC 2019 is going to happen in Sri Lanka in the first week of July.
Okay, there is none like in autumn and winter.
Okay, so we have like international congress. We have just one.
Okay.
During the year. But there is regional conference that is RPM for just LCPs. Is an amazing conference. It's really, really good. I was alone, unfortunately, this year. But like from the LCPs of other entities, I know that it was insane for them. It was around November. And there is Euro Expo that AJ can give you some information about how amazing this conference is. That is after reload.
Yeah, but it will be after our term, so yeah.
Yeah. But like just to make sure that you have the information for your
Yeah. Okay.
for the others, and you need to plan budget yearly. So you need to make sure that if you are planning to maybe send people on conference, make sure that you save budget for that.
Mm-hmm. And do we already have the dates for the? I don't remember the name of the first national conference in France.
The first national conference of your term.
Yeah, in September. I don't remember the name of.
No, that is something that will be defined by the new MC. We will support as much as we can, but that is something that depends on the planning of the MC.
Okay.
When is the next Euro Expo? You know?
Euro Expo, where or when?
When is the next one?
When it will be like it's around the same dates.
Okay. But like
it's always AI conferences are like most of the time fixed on the like same dates around.
okay. But what about like Americas?
AMCO, like, okay, so most of the conference happen during March in general, because it's still, well, not still early, but it's early enough for the peak, February and March.
Okay, but it's not happening all in the same time, right?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
No,
I wish
usually
someday I
first
can go to
EMEA,
America.
then Europe, then Americas, then AP. Usually that is the order. But it depends also in the venues and in the organization of the CCs.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Mm.
Okay. So yeah.
Last question. There will be Spark, right?
Spark next year?
National.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there will be a Spark, but in the modification that was done in the compendium, Spark will be regional. There will be two Sparks, Spark North and Spark South.
Okay, but like I remember when we were in national conference, you were with LCPs and you were doing Lego Fair, and we will do the same thing, or it's not gonna be in our term.
The thing is, like in Spark, you don't legislate. In Spark, we didn't had Lego Fair. You legislate in the LCP Summit of September in Lead and in Reload, but you don't legislate in Spark.
Okay, so we will have chance, right? We will have time to legislate or not?
In Spark, no.
No. Like during our term.
Yeah, yeah, you will have NTC. You will
Okay.
have not NTC, like the first conference of the year,
Okay.
and also like it depends on like your elections and everything. Also lead maybe.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But we will talk about General Assembly on Saturday, so I will explain you everything, when it goes, and what is the procedures and everything.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, guys, hope that you are having a good day. That was all from my side, and see you soon.
See you.
Yeah. Thank
See you.
Thanks.
you.
Thanks so much for being here. Bye.
Bye.